Manchester United have now surpassed their points tally from last season with 13 games to go. Now, this tells us a couple of things. The first thing that it tells us is that Michael Carrick is a clever and astute manager. The second thing, though, that it tells us, it reaffirms for us, is that Ruben Amorim is undoubtedly a fraud, a joke, a clown, and he was dragging Manchester United into the depths of hell. Michael Carrick has done a brilliant job. Michael Carrick has turned them around like that, and in my opinion, Michael Carrick should be considered. I'm not saying he should get the job, I'm saying he should be considered for the job because he is getting so much right. He is making very clever and shrewd manoeuvres on the pitch, and he's making even cleverer shrewd manoeuvres off it. Later in this video, I'm going to tell you about the masterstroke that I believe Michael Carrick has implored at the club. He has made such a clever decision, and I am so impressed by him. 4 Premier League wins in a row for Manchester United. It's big. It's relevant, it's significant, and I'll tell you what, that geezer Frank, he's going to be having to book himself a barber's appointment very soon because it's looking like Manchester United now will most certainly win their next game. They will most certainly win 5 in a row, and that fellow is going to have to get himself a trim. But for all the noise around this, 4 in a row, 4 in a row this, 4 in a row that, Manchester United have done 4 in a row. This isn't it. Manchester United, a club of that stature, if you're a Manchester United fan, I know that what I'm about to say is going to chime with you. If we are talking about Manchester United winning potentially 4 in a row, potentially 5 in a row, we should be talking about titles, not games. We don't want to make Manchester United this normal. Like this normalising of mediocrity has now got to stop because Manchester United are now managed by a man who knows the standards, knows what the club should be, knows how to get the club back to the top, and was there when it was arguably at its very best. So the fact that he is there means, in my opinion at least, he won't be celebrating this 5 in a row if it comes. He won't be celebrating it as an event. He won't be celebrating it almost as a trophy. It will be completely and utterly insignificant for him because he will want so much more than that. And I know Manchester United fans will as well. But today, they did what they had to do. They got another win, and by some definition, and in my opinion, actually, it's the best one. Not because it's the most glamorous, not because it's the most historic, but because it isn't the most glamorous, because it isn't the most historic. When Manchester United were at their best, when I was a kid, not even a kid, all my life, really, up until the past decade, Manchester United would win games in a routine way. They would win games in an easy way. They would just get the job done. Everything doesn't need to be headlines. Sometimes you just churn out a 2-0 win. And that is the very definition of Manchester United. When Manchester United are at their best, what they do is they routinely win 2-0. Standard procedure. Another day, another win. That sort of attitude. Just get the job done. And that is exactly what Manchester United did today. And I think that is what the standards should be for Manchester United. Just a standard 2-0 home victory. And it was good. Look, it was free from all of the mistakes of the Ruben Amorim era, which is obviously very important. It was free from some of the dramas of the Ruben Amorim era, which, again, is obviously very important. And they basically just got the job done. If you were watching that game as a Manchester United fan from anywhere in the world, whether you were on a different continent or whether you were in the Stretford end, just watching Manchester United churn it out, just watching Manchester United swat Tottenham aside, just watching Manchester United stride forward has to be a throwback. And that's certainly how it looked to me. From the second that the referee blew the whistle, the beginning of the game, there was never any jeopardy that Manchester United weren't going to win the game. They were better when it was 11 versus 11. They were better throughout. They were better players, better setup, better manager. And ultimately, that is who Manchester United are. It was solid. Not spectacular. Not historic. We won't remember this fixture. You know, in a year's time, I'll go to you. How did Tottenham do at Old Trafford last year? You go, oh yeah, 2-0, I remember. Oh yeah, Casemiro got fouled, sending off Romero. But it won't be one of those, oh my God, what did Manchester United do at Arsenal? Oh my God, couldn't you? It wasn't that. And I think on some level that is better for Manchester United. Solid over spectacular. You have to be a club capable of the spectacular. And Manchester United, under Carrick already, have proved that they are capable of it. But you cannot have a really successful season relying upon the spectacular. There has to be an element of routine to your success. And the fact that today's result felt fairly ordinary I think that is perfect. And the fact that Manchester United can legitimately say, we were better when it was 11 versus 11, we were stronger, we were more on the front foot, we were more forthright, we were bolder, and quite simply, they were better than Tottenham. And that is how it should be. Look, there's one moment of spectacular, I think, something that we should really focus upon. And I actually think that whilst Mbeumo deserves a lot of credit here, and suddenly we're talking about Mbeumo as almost in a world of his own for the best signing of the summer. I mean, him and Zubimendi are neck and neck for the best signing of the summer. At one point this season, I certainly thought it was Zubimendi, but Brian Mbeumo has just been amazing since he got back from AFCON. He's been amazing under Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick has utilised him brilliantly, playing him up front, kind of taking the pressure off Benjamin Sesko a touch. Again, excellent management from Carrick. But the goal that Manchester United scored to open the scoring, I just thought it was truly brilliant. I mean, it was ingenious, wasn't it? You know, if you want to talk about like good management, this is it. Work on something on the training ground, perfect it all week, deploy it in a match to full effect. Good management. The reason why Manchester United scored, and Mbeumo will get the credits, Kobe Mainoo will get the assist, the ingenuity will go to the team. Carrick! This is a goal scored by Carrick. At no point under Ruben Amorim's tenure, and no point under Ruben Amorim's stewardship, did Manchester United ever pull something out of the bag like that. I mean, the goal as well that Bruno Fernandez scored was truly amazing. But I think it's really important to acknowledge that the hipster's choice, that Wally, Ruben Amorim, all of those Burks that backed Amorim, they told me how clever he was. They told me that he saw football on a different plane to me. They told me if I didn't rate him, it was because there was something wrong with me and I didn't necessarily understand football well enough to quite process what this pillock is doing. At no point under Amorim's tenure did Manchester United ever score a goal that was so clearly linked to the training ground ingenuity that produced Mbeumo's opener. So Michael Carrick is already proving to be a better manager. Already 4 games in, he's already had a direct impact on goals scored. And it's just great to see. It really is. Because I was so right about Amorim. He was never the man for the job. He was never worthy of taking the Manchester United job. And look, Bruno Fernandez seals it. You know, it was an amazing goal. And ultimately the game, it will be remembered as a sort of tale of two captains. Like one captain led from the front, scored a great goal. It was exemplary again, outstanding again, demonstrated how a leader can work. And not a leader in the most traditional sense. Not a leader in the swashbuckling Brian Robson, Roy Keane sense, but a leader by example. You know, his goal was so beautifully taken, but also so intelligent. And he was so desperate to score. It's yet another late run into the box, lung-busting run, and he got his rewards. So Bruno Fernandes deserves an awful lot of credit. He is the personality of this team. He is Michael Carrick's captain. He is Michael Carrick on the pitch. And his record speaks for itself. You know, 200 goals and assists for Fernandes since joining Manchester United 6 years ago. It's obviously an outrageously brilliant record. And some would argue that he's been overlooked during this time because of how poor Manchester United have been. But there is no doubt in my mind that he's one of the best creators in the Premier League at the moment. In fact, in terms of playmakers, at the moment, he is the best in the league. Where I argue with people about Bruno Fernandes is when people start talking to me about where he ranks in the pantheon of greats. When people start comparing Bruno Fernandes to Steven Gerrard or whatever. I'm not having that. When people want to talk about best ever Manchester United midfielders and put him in it, that's where I struggle. Because I think he is the best at the moment at the club. He is the best at the moment in the league, in fact, in terms of being a playmaker. But this isn't a particularly wealthy period of football. We don't have a huge depth of talent in that role. So in terms of Manchester United greats, I don't see him as one. I really don't. And in terms of Manchester United midfielders, if you take midfielders across the whole midfield, he's obviously not a better midfielder than David Beckham for Manchester United. He's obviously not a better midfielder than Paul Scholes for Manchester United. He's obviously not a better midfielder than Ryan Giggs. He's obviously not a better midfielder than Roy Keane. He's obviously not a better midfielder than Paul Ince. There are so many. Like, Paul Ince was integral to Manchester United winning a double. But, as of now, as of today, I think Bruno Fernandes is immense. And he is leading by example. And a lot of players, worse players than him, would crumble under the pressure of Old Trafford, but he has thrived under that pressure since arriving from Sporting. You know, a lot of people have asked him a lot of questions. And if you think, you know, I've been talking about Vitsi Gyökeres and I called him a dud. Arriving from the Portuguese league, I said it isn't necessarily the template that you may think. I mean, Bruno Fernandez has been an excellent servant for Manchester United, and the record does speak for itself. And the goal he scored today sort of shinnied it in. Lovely finish. But no, it's a great goal, a great day for Manchester United, a great day for Michael Carrick, and a great day for the man that I now need to talk about, Steve Holland. Steve Holland is what I wanted to discuss. You know, at the beginning of this video, I said Michael Carrick did something very clever. And it wasn't only about corner kick routines. It wasn't only about playing a Burmo right up the top. It wasn't only about deploying Bruno Fernandez in his favoured position. It wasn't only about bringing Kobe Mainoo back into the side. It was something that he did off the pitch, a manoeuvre of bringing Steve Holland back from Japan into the first team affairs of Manchester United. Now, Steve Holland is a man who lives and breathes football. He is a Manchester United fan. And if anyone is ever going to talk to you about Steve Holland and the power of Steve Holland, let it be a Chelsea fan. Steve Holland was the architect. He was there when everything good was happening at Chelsea. He arrived at Chelsea and there was carnage. Andre Villas-Boas was sacked. Roberto Di Matteo comes in. Steve Holland is an ever-present, helping out Roberto Di Matteo and Eddie Newton with tactics. Chelsea win not only a European Cup, but also the FA Cup, beating Tottenham 5-1 in a semi-final, beating Liverpool in the FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium. He was then integral to the success that we had under Rafael Benitez. He was integral to the success that we had with Jose Mourinho the second time round. He was integral to the success that we had with Gus Hiddink. He was integral to the success that we had with Antonio Conte. You know, when we won the league and the FA Cup that season, we beat Manchester United. If you are a Manchester United fan listening to this, you'll remember it. Eden Hazard, Phil Jones fouled Eden Hazard, that FA Cup. What would that have been? 17? 18? Steve Holland was an ever-present. Steve Holland was so integral to everything that we did then. And all of those managers, from Hiddink to Benitez to Conte, they all have their way of working. They all have their own people. And they were all initially sceptical about working with Steve Holland until, bang, he won them over. And having somebody around Michael Carrick who has got such a proven track record, it's such a masterstroke. It's also very enlightening as to who Michael Carrick is. He isn't an egomaniac. He doesn't need total control. He's ready to devolve power. He's ready to seek counsel from somebody like Steve Holland, who has basically been about football, top-tier football, all his life. Everything that happened for England under Southgate, Steve Holland was there. All of the success that I just mentioned under Chelsea, Steve Holland was there. So Carrick did a brilliant thing bringing him in. And it gets to the stage now where you kind of think, say Michael Carrick doesn't take the job full-time. On some level I think he should, but say he doesn't. Maybe there is a job for Steve Holland, the Manchester United fan, the Manchester United season ticket holder when he was a kid. Anyway, but a really brilliant move from Michael Carrick. Great day yet again for Manchester United. It feels a bit Groundhog Day, constantly saying what a day it is for Manchester United. But everything that we've discussed on this video, I think Steve Holland is actually the biggest point of discussion. So I'll be listening to what you have to say in the comment section below. Please do let me know. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please do click subscribe. And I look forward to what you have to say in the comment section below. Have a lovely day. Ta-da.